First of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me
No problem.
again, and we have been over the informed consent.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we met, we were talking about some decisions that you have going on that
Yeah.
have been weighing on you.
Mm-hmm. And they're kind of anxiety provoking. As you know, I'm a graduate student in psychology, and one of the things that we're required to do is have a practicum and an intern type position in the sense that it's unpaid.
Does that present some special challenges?
Well, yeah, I've been at my job where I'm at for over 16 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
you know, there's people there that I care for and like, and who rely upon me, and you know, the other aspect of it is my family, because I'm far and away the breadwinner. My plan is to still work at least part time, and
That's
I
right.
don't like dipping into that money,
Mm-hmm.
but it's there if I need to.
Right. Right.
But there's just there's just financial implications, and I'm going to need a little more cooperation from my wife, and she's not exactly a cooperative individual.
Say more about that.
Dorothy's just really kind of been at home, on
Right.
on her own for almost 2 decades now.
And what does that mean
Uh,
in terms of how it affects you and her personality, maybe?
She's unreliable. It's funny because she's reliable as a mother, but she's not reliable as a wife.
In what ways is she not reliable as a wife?
I don't have any sense of reciprocity from her in
Mhm.
terms of our roles, and it's like, she's all for being kept, and the woman has totally given up on housework almost, and it's like, she doesn't make breakfast, she doesn't make lunch. I don't know when dinner time in our house is.
Right, you've mentioned this.
And
she is doing what with her time? Resting? Because I know she has fibromyalgia.
Polymyositis.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
But it's an autoimmune disease, and people are sore and fatigued.
Yeah, yeah.
Often. And
I'm making an assumption, but I want to clarify here. Have you talked to her about this? Have you had discussions about you feeling like you're carrying the bulk of the weight financially,
Mhm.
and you feel like you said, there's no reciprocity? And how is that met?
it's just a fight. I actually went to couples counseling with her
Mm-hmm.
last year for 5 or
Wonderful.
6 sessions, and we actually ended up getting fired.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That must have been awful.
Well, it was strange, that's for sure, and
Gee whiz.
and
Why? Were you given reason?
kind of ethical decision on the part of the couples therapist, and her take was that both you guys are just like so ossified in your position that I don't think I can help you, because there's no movement here.
Would you describe your relationship as loving at all in any way? Are there moments of kindness? Or is it pretty much a steady stream of apathy?
I don't think we go out of our way to antagonize the other. Maybe kind of reconciled to
Mm-hmm.
the reality of the situation.
Right. I want to kind of redirect our conversation.
So,
What's the worst possible reaction she could have to this news?
well, I'm sure she's a worrier, and she will worry herself sick, and it's like, it'll be.
Does she know that you have substantial savings?
Yeah.
Did
yeah.
she come into the relationship with more financial power
No, it was very equitable.
It was equitable.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was very equitable.
And that's definitely
Yeah.
shifted as she has become ill and then
Yes, yes.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And lately we've had some conflict over how it gets spent. She spends $150 getting her hair done once a month. It's just, but every little thing is a battle. Every, there's,
exhausting.
it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, I took us out to dinner the night before, and and she didn't have to get up to make breakfast. She didn't have to make lunch. I come home and the dishes haven't been touched for 2 days. Well, you could do the dishes. Yeah, I could, and you could get a job too.
Have you said that?
Yeah.
And what's her reaction to that?
Well, I can't, and so what happens is, she gets sick, right? She's sore, or she's cold, or she's this, or she's that, or the other thing.
Does she have depression?
Oh, I'm sure she's
Major
depressed. I'm
depressive
sure
disorder?
she's
Yeah.
depressed.
That's kind of what it's sounding like a
Yeah.
little bit. I mean, not to discount her physical stuff.
No, the
but
physical stuff is real.
I think it can be driven.
Yeah. The base physical stuff is real, but I wonder what.
It's exacerbated by her
Yeah,
mood.
yeah.
Worst case scenario.
Um,
Like horrible fantasy. This would never, maybe never happen. Maybe would.
I put this much time and effort. I'm obviously going to do this, and I think she will just be obstructive and difficult.
And in what ways will she be difficult or obstructive particularly?
Oh, she'll be surly. I was going to say she'll be non-supportive, but you can't get much less supportive. So there's not a lot of bottom left. Yeah.
So if you're embarking on something that's going to require a certain amount of personal fortitude, it would be great if we could get her on board. Can you imagine any situation in which she might be convinced to be a little more supportive?
I don't see her becoming really actively obstructionist because she just doesn't have the energy and the fight in her.
Okay. What's your concern there?
I don't know.
Doesn't she know enough about that you have to do a practicum? Or about the training process?
Yeah, I think she does. Yeah.
And has she ever said anything to you
No.
about?
No.
Okay, well, with cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the things that we do is we look at events and how we think about those events and how those thoughts give us feelings and consequences, reactions, behaviors. So one of the things that I like to do is mentally, when I'm having a strong reaction to something, I like to go through the list of cognitive distortion. I just wonder if maybe there's an element of that happening with your fears about telling your wife and or telling your boss about this stuff. Because I do sense that there's a lot of anxiety about it. And I'm wondering if, because I have to say, you're very smart. You've thought this through very well. It's not like you're you're living hand to mouth and you're going to be in danger of not being able to buy groceries.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder what her objections could be and whether or not your worst case scenario is in fact not so accurate. What do you think?
I guess it's the aspect of the unknown that really bothers me, and and getting the stomach, to go there, and
because it'll be so unpleasant.
And I'm projecting that it'll be unpleasant.
Do you want to try role playing it? Just see what it feels like to say it out loud. Maybe starting with your boss and then eventually working toward.
I don't have to live with him. Bob, you got 10 or 15 minutes?
Yeah, sure. Come
Yeah,
on in.
I got something important I got to talk to you about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Way to go, man.
Okay.
How close to reality do you think that could be? Is he a pretty reasonable guy?
And,
Do you anticipate her yelling and screaming? And
Oh, she's not that. She's much more likely to stomp off and be sullen and
It sounds like
snarky and.
she can't do much to you, it sounds like.
No.
Okay.
She can just be a pill.
A pill. And do you think that there might be a part of Dorothy that would feel happy for you for following your dream?
I got my undergrad in psych in 1990 from JFK University.
Okay.
And the plan then was to continue on in grad school.
Right.
And of course, I never quite made it.
Why not? What happened?
I really had a lot of doubts about myself.
Yeah.
I didn't feel I knew anything really.
Fraud.
Fraud.
Yeah.
I felt a fraud.
And now looking back, do you think that was accurate? On a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being you never think about it, 10 being it's in your every waking moment, the anxiety that you're feeling over this confrontation with your wife.
1.3. And but there's.
What do you make of that? Just pushed to the back burner?
Well, I can work myself up into a froth about things, and big fuzzy froth, and I guess it's about a 4.
Let me make sure that I haven't put words into your mouth, but is it fair to say that you've been more focused on telling the boss because of the practical aspects of that, but maybe the larger stressor has actually been this conversation with your wife?
That's fair. And,
how will it affect her practically? Or will it?
Oh, it'll give her one more thing to worry about. And
but in terms of finances or living arrangements or day-to-day?
Not much.
I alluded to something earlier, and that was, what if you were able to explain to her, because my take from you is that this is really what you were born to do. You started to do it a long time ago and you weren't ready yet. Now you're ready. You've learned the life lessons, you've got a lot to give, and now you're getting the skill. I wonder if there were some way to communicate to her how important this is to you.
It occurs to me that there is, because I think part of her depression and sadness is that my wife is a very, very talented designer. That's what she did, that's how she was defined, that's what she was good at, and she can understand. Now, whether she's sympathetic about it in terms of me, or whether it further depresses her, just reminding her that she's not, because she's had a horrible time giving that up.
What is a good goal for you?
Well, I need to put my case together. I've also put off looking, or securing a practicum site, because I haven't, been willing to address this preliminary step.
I understand. By your next session, you're going to have at least written out a game plan for both of these conversations?
For both, yeah.
Well done.
Okay.
You're fine.
Okay.
All right. I'm proud of you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
No problem.